8 people murdered in their sleep, and the killer was never caught. Welcome to the terrifying mystery of the Villisca Axe Murders, one of the most disturbing, unsolved crimes in American history. On a quiet summer morning in June 1912, the sleepy town of Villisca, Iowa, was about to wake up to a nightmare, one that would haunt its streets, its people, and American crime history forever. Inside a modest white house at 508 East 1 Street, 8 people lay dead. Josiah and Sarah Moore, their 4 young children, Herman, Catherine, Boyd, and Paul, and 2 visiting girls, Lena and Ina Stillinger, had all been murdered in their sleep. Not with a gun, not with poison, but with the blunt side of an axe. And the most terrifying part, the killer was never caught. The Moore family were well-respected citizens of Villisca. Josiah was a successful businessman, owner of a local implement store. Sarah was active in the community and church. On June 9, 1912, they attended a Children's Day program at the Presbyterian Church. Accompanying them were 2 young guests, Lena and Ina Stillinger, who had been invited to stay the night. The family returned home around 9:45 p.m. Lights went out. Curtains were drawn. The town went to sleep. No one knew this was the last night anyone would see them alive. At 7 a.m. the next morning, neighbor Mary Peckham noticed something strange. The Moore house was oddly silent. No children playing, no chores being done. The doors were locked from the inside. Concerned, she called Josiah's brother, Ross Moore. What he found inside would scar him and the town for life. Each member of the Moore family was discovered brutally bludgeoned in bed, their heads crushed, their faces unrecognizable. The murderer had used Josiah's own axe, found in the guest room, left leaning against the wall, blood-soaked and chillingly silent. All windows were covered with cloth, mirrors draped in black. A bowl of bloody water sat ominously on a washstand, and over each victim's face, a piece of clothing or sheet, almost like the killer couldn't bear to look at what they'd done. The Villisca Axe Murders were not just horrifying, they were perplexing. Despite the brutality of the crime, there were no signs of forced entry. Food was left uneaten on the kitchen table, suggesting the killer might have lingered after the murders. Cigarette butts found in the attic hinted that the killer might have hidden there, waiting for the family to fall asleep. But here's the eerie twist. Every clock in the house had stopped at exactly midnight. Police arrived. So did townsfolk. In fact, over 100 people trampled through the crime scene, contaminating evidence. Fingerprint technology was still in its infancy. DNA testing didn't exist, and as the hours passed, the trail went cold. Very cold. Over the next few years, investigators would name multiple suspects, but no one was ever convicted. Frank F. Jones, a powerful state senator and former employer of Josiah Moore, was rumored to hold a grudge. Some believed he hired a killer, possibly William Blackie Mansfield, a known axe murderer, to eliminate Josiah. Reverend George Kelly, a traveling preacher with a history of mental illness, had attended the same Children's Day service that night. He confessed, then recanted, then was tried and acquitted. Some speculated the murder was committed by a serial killer, moving from town to town via rail lines. Similar axe murders occurred in Colorado, Kansas, and Illinois around the same time, but no single theory ever stuck. The case went cold and stayed that way. Over a century later, the Moore House still stands. Restored and preserved, it's now known as the Villisca Axe Murder House, a place whispered about in paranormal circles. Visitors report hearing children's laughter, footsteps on the stairs, and even voices calling from empty rooms. Paranormal investigators, including the teams from Ghost Adventures and Kindred Spirits, have explored the home. Some say the spirits of the victims never left. Others claim the darkness that entered the house that night never truly disappeared. And in a haunting twist of fate, a ghost hunter once stabbed himself in the chest while staying overnight, as if something inside the house didn't want him there. Why would someone murder 8 innocent people, including 6 children, and vanish without a trace? Was it revenge? Was it random? Was it something darker? We may never know the truth behind the Villisca Axe murders, but we do know this. The story has never stopped chilling spines, inspiring theories, and attracting thrill seekers to the blood-soaked walls of that old White House. And maybe, just maybe, the killer still walks free. A century has passed, but the axe still echoes. In Villisca, the silence of that night speaks louder than words, and the mystery continues to haunt not just the house, but history itself. Like, comment, and subscribe if this story gripped you. Share your theories below. Was it jealousy, madness, or something far more sinister? Stay tuned for more chilling, unsolved crimes from the past, because sometimes the scariest stories are the true ones.